The common denominator in all my outdoor adventures, whether I'm mountaintops or out on the trail or on a motorcycle or just on a trail hike in the city, you name it, is the Insta360 X4. Had this one for quite a while. Prior to that, I had the X2 and the X3. The X4 steps it up big time, 8K 30 and a chip inside, which does a whole lot of other wizardry that makes this thing fantastic. So if you decide on getting a 360 camera, which I highly recommend, why? Because on all my adventures, this is the one that always comes with me. Sometimes there's another camera, but this is, again, the common denominator for when I travel. This one is always with me because of the unique perspective of that 360 bubble footage that it takes, which is super cool. Two lenses, recovers the image in front of you and the back. You got to be aware of the seam, but other than that, today I just want to cover the accessories because there is a dizzying array of accessories for the X4 in, action cameras in general, but these are 360 camera specific. So I'm going to break it down, just the essentials. These are the things that I use all the time. I'm going to talk about a second category of things that I sometimes use. They have a unique use case, and so they won't apply across the board. And then some things that I have that I just don't use, and I just don't recommend even picking them up, but at least they're out there in case for some reason you have a unique use for whatever that gear happens to be. Let's break it down. This is JB on Tech, Insta360 Accessories. All right, let's start things off with just the essentials. Boom, you got the camera. What do I need to maybe even put in the cart when I get it? What are you really going to use? This is what I use almost all the time. The other stuff, unique use cases, but this is what goes with me everywhere. Number one, you need a SD card, micro SD, up to 1 terabyte. Get something fast, V30s kind of speeds, because you're going to be cramming a lot of data in there. My primary card that I carry with me, this one happens to be a 256, which is what I recommend, at least a 256. The file sizes, because you're getting 8K 30 full sphere, are the largest files really of any action camera, and you will go through a lot of data, but there's ways to minimize that, more in future video. But at least a 256 gigabyte card. No need to get the Insta360 branded ones. Anyone off Amazon will work. The second thing that I always use, and that is this lens cap. The lens cap is not included, unfortunately. It comes with this little carrying case, which is cool. I do like that, but the lens cap I carry with it all the time because it's normally living on the next essential, which is this selfie stick. Now there's two different versions of the selfie stick. This is the action one, which is carbon fiber, but this is the way this camera lives for me, is attached to the selfie stick in my bag, either in a side pocket, in the back. In fact, when I went hiking around in Washington State, this lived in the back of my backpack, easy to grab, take some shots, put it back, and away we went. And I just didn't care about the weather or anything else because it's waterproof anyway. So that's how it lived. Since I'm talking about selfie sticks, this is the regular edition. This is the pro level one. This is the action version. It is a little bit longer, maybe 2 to 3 inches longer, made out of carbon fiber, and it is about the same weight, but I would say less flexy. What do I mean by that? Well, sometimes at different angles, this one will flex, and any sort of flex allows this camera to pick up the end of this stick. And when you do that, then you're seeing the stick and it doesn't provide the same effect. So highly recommend the more rigid carbon fiber edition, which is cool. The next thing that I use all the time is a spare battery. Wherever I go, I happen to always have a spare battery in my bag somewhere. Now the battery does last pretty long. I'll put the spec over here. And the way I use this camera is I just use the quick start mode, take a video of whatever, and then I turn it off, and then I go about my daily business. And that just saves a lot of battery power because I'm not just running it as I walk around. Just quick burst with the battery makes it last all day, multi-day. But I always have a spare because I'm afraid it'll turn on or be on, and I'll run the battery down, and I'll be somewhere where I won't have a spare. So, 2 is 1, 1 is none. The other things that I commonly use, maybe not essential because you can charge the one battery in the camera, swap the batteries, do it again. I did that for a long time. But they make this quick charge base, which I do leave plugged in my office, and then I always it's easy to just keep the batteries charged 3 at a time. So that's what I do, and I only have 2 batteries. The next thing that I highly recommend that will be very useful to you is this quick reader from Insta360. This thing has a USB-C port, and it also has a lightning port if you've got an older iPhone, but you pop the card out, put it in here, and stick it to your phone, and now you can edit the footage right off of the card. Now, there's different ways to edit things. I don't want to get too deep down the editing rabbit hole, probably do that in a future video, but you can, without the card reader, edit from the camera to the phone. And it's pretty good, pretty high speed. You can do it. I've done it, and it's fine. A more efficient way, just based off of it doesn't lag, is you can just pop the card out, like I said, put it in here and edit off the card reader. I do this sort of in transit. So on the airplane back, I don't keep the camera out. I just keep this little thing in my pocket, put it on here, edit off the phone, and there we go. And so it's just a really nice and efficient way to do it. So that, again, is sort of the essential band of things that I would definitely pick up when you order the camera or immediately after. Now, let's get into a couple of different use cases. Let's go like hiking mode. What are some accessories to enhance the hiking mode? Well, the number one thing is this backpack attachment. Here's what it looks like on the bag. And this thing has a little piece which comes off. This little nugget, which is the key to the whole thing, goes onto your selfie stick. Then you put this onto the camera. It just magnetically attaches to it, and then you rip it off, and then boom, you're off to the races. It's just a very quick and easy way to attach the camera to your backpack. It could also be used as a holster for your belt, but that is the number one. You're going hiking around town, got a backpack, definitely upgrade yourself to the magnetic holster, which I really do like and have used, and it's fantastic. The next thing to up your game in the hike mode or around the city is this extended edition selfie stick. The extended edition selfie stick goes out to 9.8 feet, 3 meters, and just really does enhance this thing. I've used this hiking out. Here I am at Hawksbill Crag, getting a different view around, either elevated or around the rock. It's just super cool. So this thing, you go somewhere with a no drone rule, national parks, state parks, no problem. Bring one of these, fits in your backpack, super easy, extend, go, boom, done. It's awesome. Now, if you're going to use this, brings me into another essential accessory that is super cool because it allows you to preview not only what's in the camera and the angle. You can use the touchscreen to move the angle around so you can kind of preview your shot. But it also does GPS. GPS is not embedded in the camera. You get the GPS out of the remote, and then you can funnel it to the camera and embed it. And so when you're in post-production, either on the app or on the desktop, you can overlay speed and sort of the route you're taking. It's just super nice to be able to put that data on there for anything you're using the remote for. I also like to put it on the extended edition selfie stick because when it's super extended, you can't reach the end of it. You can see what you're doing, start, stop recording on this one, take photos, change modes, do everything on the preview remote. So there we go. That's another next level accessory. Another thing that I would recommend is a DJI mic. Now it's not Insta360. Why am I recommending it? Because it Bluetooths to the camera. Now I can record audio inside the camera. It's fantastic. Additionally, and most of the time what I'm doing is I'm actually just recording the audio in one of these microphones. The camera is recording audio, and in post-production, whatever editing software I'm using, it just kind of beams it back and forth, or actually compares the audio, and then I can pick which one I want, and it's super cool. Nice. The next thing I would recommend, and this is for any situation where you are worried about the camera lens getting damaged. Now, the camera lenses are not replaceable on the camera like other action cameras might have. So when that thing gets damaged, the camera is damaged. The only way to get it fixed is to send it back to Insta360, have it fixed by them and returned, which is not cheap. So put a receipt here from when I had my X2 damaged. But now they have these new and improved lens guards. And why do I say they're new and improved? Well, the previous editions didn't have little places to screw them on, so you had to stick them on, and then you either had to pry them off or just leave them on there until they fell off. Now we have ones that screw onto the front face, which is awesome, and they come in pairs. I just have one of each type. These are the standard guards. They're a little less expensive. These are more premium, about twice the price, but they are out of tempered glass. Higher clarity. Highly recommend if you're going to get these for situations where you're mountain biking or any situation where you're worried about debris hitting the lenses, get the lens cover, lens guard from Insta360. They just screw on, use them, and pop them off. I normally go without them unless I'm putting the camera low to the ground and I'm worried about rocks being kicked up against it. So some other accessories for, let's go mountain biking or cycling. And I'm going to do a whole nother cycling one in the future because I'm waiting on a couple other key pieces. But my favorite way mountain biking is to use the chest strap. The chest strap just gives you a unique perspective. It's close to you, yet shoots the angle out in front of you for you to show the handlebars, the bike in front of you, the sky and terrain in front, and then the action as it develops in front of you. And when you curve, you can edit the footage to follow the vector of the camera versus, looking all wonky any otherwise. So I just go direction lock on the camera and it gives me these sweeping views of the mountain bike action, which again, I just use this one. I don't like to put on my handlebars for me personally, at least on the mountain bike. The other thing I would highly recommend if you're going to use it for mountain biking is these wind muffs for the microphones. And they come in a little set like this. I've used a couple. You attach a little piece onto the side of the camera, and then when you are out and around, you just stick this thing on, and it definitely knocks down the wind noise, makes it much more manageable, either on a motorcycle or mountain biking. So, highly recommend those for any outdoor activity where you're moving at a high rate of speed. On the motorcycle, the only way to go about this, I've tried different non-Insta360 clamps to put the camera in different positions. None of it worked. It really was terrible. The Insta360 motorcycle kit is what I highly recommend because I have two clamps. I have one clamp on the back, one clamp on the handlebars, and one U-bolt clamp on the side. Those three combined are the only ones I need to give me front-facing shots, side-facing shots, or rear shots while I'm on the motorcycle. Again, I also love the chest mount because the chest mount gives, I think, my favorite perspective on the motorcycle. Those mounts just live on there now. They're cranked down super tight on the motorcycle, and they just really do hold it very well. They got a nice 1/4-20 mount for you to just screw on the selfie stick, extend it, ride, bring it back in. I'm gonna do a whole another motorcycle video, just some things I learned testing this stuff out. The one thing that they make, and I call this kind of the crab mount, but it's basically a selfie stick support clamp because it attaches to your frame, it attaches to the selfie stick to give it sort of this triangular, rigid way to basically further support the camera. I was super excited about this because I think it will help in a lot of cases, but for my specific motorcycle, I just really couldn't find a way to make it work. Probably an adventure motorcycle with bars and attachments, this thing would be clutch in terms of attaching that thing. But for my bike, it just doesn't work. The motorcycle kit also comes with these soft, rounded adhesive mounts. You can put this on your helmet, give you a different perspective. I personally don't like that just because this thing ain't coming off, at least not very easily. And so I just don't want it on my helmet permanently. It would be a super unique way to do it, but for me, I love the chest mount. But if you want it on your helmet, they come with that in the motorcycle kit. That's motorcycle mode. More about that again in a future video. Some other things that I don't really use. I don't really use this heat sink piece of plastic that goes on the X4. Haven't needed it. Haven't had any overheating issues whatsoever. I've had cages. This one's from Tilta. This one's from Small Rig. I've had those on the past for my cameras. They do provide you ways to mount the camera at different angles. Don't need it, haven't needed it, so I haven't used these, haven't got the updated ones for the newest camera, to be honest, and I don't miss them. There's other accessories out there like this X mount, which allows you to put the DJI, they make one for Rode, they make them for all these things, so you can put the accessories on the side to use this microphone adapter for the side of the 360 cameras. Haven't had the need for this, don't use it, because again I use the wireless mics, so I don't like the wired option. So I haven't actually used this, I haven't used the other things, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend those unless you wanted the audio going directly into it from a wired configuration. That's just me. The next thing are these bullet attachments. Now there's two different bullet things. There's this tripod base and then there's this cord. This is kind of the, I don't know, the gimmicky style of using the Insta360. It's like, oh, I'm gonna get all this stuff, it's gonna be super cool. You put this thing on there, you whip it around your head, you get these unique shots. Cool. I did that a few times, but I just don't normally see the utility, so I don't recommend it. You can get it, it's available. This base, which is actually is pretty helpful. I normally use this, you can either screw it to the end, and I use it as a tripod because when you're out somewhere, one of the other cool ways to use this camera is to extend this and just run by it, ride by it, and then post-production just track yourself as you go by. Super creative look that, you can't get from any other stationary camera. The other way to use this bullet time base is you put it in here and then you put it over your head and you put it in bullet time mode and you just rotate it around the top of you. And again, those views are interesting and cool, but I don't typically do that. So I get the base for sure to hold up the camera, and then if you wanted to do it cool, this one just haven't really used. Those are the accessories, ones that are essential, some other that are uniquely handy for hiking, motorcycling, another cycling edition coming up soon because there's some more cool stuff that came out with that, so I just wanted to test it out before I told you about it. And it's some stuff that I've gotten that I just don't tend to use with the X4. I did want to tell you that if you'd like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. This one's new, JB on Tech. Got another channel about outside gear, so that one's still going to continue, but this one's just about tech. It's action camera season, lots coming out. Got more GoPro footage. I got an Action 5 from DJI, the Pro Edition. So more about that all. I'm not sponsored in most of this camera gear, so I don't get it early. I'm buying it because this is stuff I like and I love. So with that, if you like this video, you're going to want to look at this playlist. This is where the Insta360 is all going to live, and as this channel grows, it's all going to be in this playlist. You might also want to check out this playlist because this is where all my previous videos are from my other channel, but they're all tech focused. So there you go. See ya.